Hello and welcome to my kitchen. This is Kathy Hodge-Smith from Burbank, California. And today we're going to make my favorite comfort food, meatloaf with cream cheese filling in a crock pot. Couldn't be easier. Or maybe you're eager to get your meatloaf done in a hurry. In that case, we're going to cook it in the microwave. We're simply going to use the same ingredients and same directions as what I'm showing you in the crock pot, but this time we're going to put it in the glass dish, a 13 by 9, and we will put it in the microwave and cook it for anywhere from, say, 25 minutes up to 40 minutes. It'll depend on your microwave and how powerful it is. Either way, this meatloaf is delicious. First of all, I'm going to start with how I prepare my crock pot. I take a little bit of cooking oil spray and I just spray the inside so that it won't stick. Now, meatloaf always drains copious amounts of fat from the meat. I started with a lean grade of ground beef, but I still know that we're going to have the extra grease to deal with. I'll show you how I overcome it. I just use, this happens to be from Trader Joe's, but any dehydrated mashed potatoes will work. And I sprinkle them over the bottom of the crock pot. This makes kind of a little crust. It absorbs all the things that you don't want. So, now to take my ingredients for my meatloaf. And I'm going to make this meatloaf all together, but I'm actually going to have it in a sandwich in 3 layers. A layer of ground beef, a layer of my cream cheese mixture, and then a top layer of the remaining ground beef meatloaf mixture, and then I'm going to top it with bruschetta. So I'm going to start with 2 eggs that I've lightly beaten, and I am going to add, this is 1 chopped bell pepper, and I'm going to add 1 chopped onion, and I am going to add 8 ounces of chopped mushrooms. I like to use fresh mushrooms rather than canned. It gives it such a nice texture and flavor. Now I'm also going to add the equivalent of 2 cloves to 3 cloves of garlic. Because today's meatloaf has 3 pounds of ground beef, I have actually written out a recipe for you that is for 2 pounds of ground beef. Not everyone uses the large crock pot size that I do, and I can always freeze leftovers, those that don't make it into meatloaf sandwiches. So I add my finely minced garlic that I've added just a little bit of kosher salt to give it that nice minced consistency. And I have 1 tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce. So I now have my basic ingredients except for what I use instead of breadcrumbs. What Paxo is actually the base for a dressing. It comes with herbs mixed in, and it is actually almost like a breadcrumb. Now I'm going to take a couple of minutes and just mix up my meatloaf and get it ready, the first layer for the crock pot. Now goes in our top layer of meatloaf, which I pat down. It needs about 1 more scoop here. So half the mixture has gone in, and now I'm going to prepare my cream cheese layer. Now it's time to add 2 bricks of Philadelphia cream cheese. I take 2 boxes of 8 ounces of cream cheese. You can use the whipped if you like. I just like the way these store in the refrigerator. So I have 2 bricks here that have not only softened to room temperature, but I've mixed them just a little bit. To that, I'm adding the equivalent of 3 ounces of chopped basil. Now I add salt and pepper to my meatloaf mixture so it doesn't need it in the cream cheese layer. Now I have taken 1 small jar, which is approximately 6 to 8 ounces, whichever is in your grocery store, of sun-dried tomatoes. They come chopped already, and I leave them just as they are as long as they're not in the quarter size. And I add that. So I mix this. I'll spread it on top of my first layer of ground beef meatloaf mixture. Okay, now I have my Philadelphia cream cheese mixture mixed and ready to spread. This is the most fantastic flavor enhancer. It makes the meatloaf silky and bursting with flavor, but it's not in any way overpowering. It is just the ultimate comfort food. So now I will put on my top layer of meatloaf. Now I've experimented also with a lot of different toppings. This one comes from Trader Joe's. I use bruschetta. It makes just a nice contrast with that cream cheese that's so cool and smooth and just balances flavors beautifully. So I am going to put my crock pot on low because I'm going to let it cook for 6 hours. You simply want to make sure that the ground beef is cooked. So you will know your own crock pot, and you can always test halfway along the way. This is cooked for a few hours. There's a little bit of grease floating on the top, and I'm going to drain that off. We're going to let the meatloaf cool for about a half an hour and set before I slice into it. So now we've had a chance for the meatloaf to rest so that I can take out a slice. You see the nice layer in the middle there? It smells good. It looks good. I'll just have to try a bite for you and tell you if it tastes good.